So, brothers and sisters, our sermon today, mm, 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 it is called A Partridge in Ecstasy. It is taken from the book of Andrew, Partridge, Andy to some, uh, the lead singer and songwriter for XTC, spelled XTC. Today we're looking at their song, Dear God. Okay. Um, Dear God is a song by XTC, written by Andy Partridge. The song expresses the thoughts of an atheist who writes a letter to God, challenging his existence and addressing the suffering in the world. It was inspired by a series of books with the same title, Dear God. Now, I'm just going to confess that actually, I know that at the time that this song was written, Andy Partridge was not an atheist yet. He was at the last straw. He was at his last straw, and he wrote this on his last straw, probably using a straw. I don't know. I didn't see the original paper where it was written. But he wasn't an atheist yet, not yet. Uh, Now, the original books, which Partridge had read, in his mind, exploited children. Um, Now, this song, Dear God, was first released as a non-album single. And as popular as it was not the A side, it was the B side single. You only got two sides with singles, A and B, and this was the B side. The A side was a song called Grass. I know, you never heard of it either, unless you bought the single. It has become one of XTC's most notable tracks. Uh, and it was finally released as part of their album Skylarking. And when it was released on that album Skylarking, it actually replaced the song Mermaid Smiled. And I'm saying that because I think they remastered it in 2001. And when they remastered it, they did include Mermaid Smile, probably because they had more room. Because the albums, many of you do not know this, vinyl albums, basically had enough room for 45 minutes worth of music. 45 to 46 minutes worth of music. That's why cassettes were 90 minutes, 45 on each side, giving you roughly one album per side. That was by design. Now, some albums managed to squeeze in a few extra seconds. So if you had, let's say, a Memorex tape, you actually got 47 minutes per side on a 90-minute cassette tape. So your 90-minute cassette tape was actually 94 minutes, just in case an album could go long. What was the point of pissing people off having exactly 45 minutes when an album went 46 minutes? And then they say, like, shit, I didn't have all the, then, like, if you were like me, then you go back and redo the album and you would take out all the gaps between the songs trying to make up that distance, or you'd fade it out. So it wasn't like you abruptly ended it. So that's why I brought Memorex tapes, because they gave you the extra minutes. I don't know why I thought of that. I don't know what happened. Oh yeah, it was because originally they had to bump Mermaid Smiled to put Dear God on that album. See, because now when it was remastered in 2001, there are CDs and you can put like up to 55 minutes on a CD. I believe it is maybe an hour. My CD was 55 minutes. We'll see. So the song Dear God begins. Okay, I'm sorry. It's from the Prophet Andrew, the book of Skylarking, track 3. I could be wrong. I forgot. Dear God, the vocals in Dear God begins with a child's voice. Jasmine, yes. I think that's how that's pronounced. Veillette. The Jasmine. We'll call her Jasmine. Jasmine says the opening line, "Dear God, hope you got the letter." Okay. This child took the time to write a letter. Now, how desperate or frustrated do you have to be to write a letter to God? I mean, obviously, the easiest way is to pray. Okay. And so, how many times did they pray and not get the answer they wanted till they got so frustrated that they said, I'm writing a letter? Fuck the phone call. I'm writing a letter. When you write a letter to someone, you are pissed. I'm telling you that now. You are pissed. You say they're not listening, and so you're taking the time to write it down so that if there's any words they missed, they're still there. They're right there. If you've ever had somebody break up with you and leave a letter, they're pissed. If you've ever been a politician and you get a letter from one of your constituents, chances are they're pissed. Because when they're happy, usually they don't write. You know that from Yelp reviews. Very few people leave a happy Yelp review. Very few people, when they're in the restaurant and they're having a good time, when they're walking out the restaurant, say, thank you, I had a good time. They expect to have a good time when they just walk out. And what they should do is say to the waitress or waiter or the chef, thank you, I had a good time, I had a good meal, nice place. I will tell my friends about it. That's what you should say to counteract all of the negativity that's out there. So this child was angry, very angry. They wrote a letter to God. So, dear God, hope you got the letter, and I pray you can make it better down here. The child can see that things are not good and that someone needs to do something because nobody else is doing anything down here. Dear God, I prayed, and now I'm writing you a letter. Please do something to make it better down here. The child continues. I don't mean a big reduction in the price of beer. That's right. Why would a child need that? And also, is the saying beer is already too cheap? Or is that they're saying that there's so much drunkenness that beer can be more expensive? We don't need to reduce the price of beer. Not my concern. I'm a child. I shouldn't be drinking beer anyway. Continues. But all the people that you made in your image. Let me repeat that stuff. They didn't repeat it, but I'm going to repeat it. But all the people that you made in your image, the child is saying, not only are these people in your likeness, but they're your responsibility. Let me say that again. Not only are these your likeness, but your responsibility. You made us. Why are you going to make us if this is what you're going to put us through? This is the child saying it. You know what they say? From the mouth of babes. From the mouth of babes. And when that babe writes a letter, that's because nobody was paying attention to the mouth of babes. See them starving on their feet because they don't get enough to eat from God. That's right. They're saying, God, you put us here. That child is saying, God, you put us here. How come you're not feeding us? Where's all the food? Why? Where's all the food? Now, I'm going to, unlike last week when we did Sea Epic, where you actually got to hear God's side of the story, this is pretty much a one-sided conversation coming from people to God. You don't get to hear God's side. And for what it's worth, but God can respond. Nobody's stopping God from responding. Stop the starvation, stop the wars. But we'll get on to that later. Okay. Basically, the child is saying, do something. And then the next line, can't believe in you. Can't believe in you. This child cannot believe in a God that allows the things that it allows. that creates and abandons. That I can't believe in you. The child is very, very abrupt, very honest. The next verse starts right after that, and it's the voice of Andy Partridge. Now remember, at this point, Andy is not a full-on atheist. His faith is hanging on by a thread, hanging on by a thread. And he begins, "Dear God, sorry to disturb you." That's right. He's saying, God, I know you're busy, and I apologize. He says, "Dear God, sorry to disturb you, but I feel that I should be heard loud and clear." Okay, like the child in the previous verse, he feels ignored, but he hasn't given up on prayer yet because he's still praying. He hasn't written a letter yet. He's not so pissed off that he's writing letters. He's like, okay, I'm still praying. I hope you still hear me. You know, I want to be heard, and I'm hoping that you hear me loud and clear. His next line, "We all need a big reduction in amount of tears." Mm-mm. That's right. Very plain and simple line. It's too much suffering. Too many people are crying. We need a big reduction in amount of tears. Continuing on, "And all the people that you made in your image." Okay. Here, the verse is repeated with exception of one word. The child said, "But," and the grown-up said, "And." Why the shift? Why the shift? Why does the child say, "But," and the man says, "And"? And they both continue with the same words after all the people that you made in your image. Let's ponder that for a second. Okay, I pondered it, and I have no idea. None. Next line. "See them fighting in the street because they can't make opinions meet about God." All right. Now, if the existence of God is a fact, what do opinions matter? Okay. If there's a fact, if it's a fact that the sun is hot, what does your opinion matter? Anything else about the sun other than it's hot? If you can't sit there and put an ice cube on it and it's not going to melt if you get that fucking close, it's hot. Okay? Some things are facts, and opinions should not matter. Opinions should not matter, but they're like assholes. Everybody has one. And some think their opinions or their assholes are better than others. See, if God is all powerful but can't arbitrate peace, then he's not all powerful. Or his weakness is people. Okay. I'm getting ahead of things. Okay. His next line is, "I can't believe in you." All right. And he says that because there's God. I can't believe in you if you're allowing all this to happen. I can't. This is not the God I signed up for. Now, down in the bridge, there's a series of questions. Maybe two. Two is not a series, right? Because if you're a serial killer and you only kill two people, you're not a serial killer yet. You need a third. So it's not a series. It's a couple of questions. First one, did you make disease and the diamond blue? The second question, did you make mankind after we made you? Okay. And the third question, and the devil too. See, so what's three? They just used exclamation point as opposed to a question mark, but it is a question. It is a question without a question mark. Did you make disease and the diamond blue? Okay. Two just opposed ideas. Disease, which is sickens you, and a blue diamond, which is very precious. Mankind. Did you make mankind after we made you? Okay, so, and if the question to that one is yes, then we have a problem. He's saying, maybe you don't exist. Maybe what I think is God is something that I created, and therefore I should be doing something to fix this. Because if I created you, I need to fix the things I'm waiting for you to fix. In the third verse, the prophet Andrew says, Dear God, don't know if you noticed, but your name is on a lot of quotes in this book. Now, this one here is especially astute. It says, God, don't know if you noticed. Okay. Now, in the Bible, in the good book, uh, there's this thing called Jacob's ladder. Now I'm going to explain to you about Jacob's ladder. All right. Jacob was an Israelite. Well, I don't think he was an Israelite just yet, but he was one of Abraham's descendants. Okay. And Jacob was pondering how God worked, and he fell asleep. And in his sleep, God gave him a vision. And in the vision, Jacob is, let's say, under this tree. This is Jacob. He's under the tree. He's visioning. Okay. He's visioning. And in the vision, which is what this is his vision over here. There's a ladder. Okay. And it goes to earth and all the way up to heaven, up to the sky. Okay. And there are angels. This is an angel with the wings. He's climbing up the ladder. And there's his legs. The angel is going up the ladder, and the angels are coming, more wings, more hands. They're coming down the ladder. So angels are coming down the ladder, and angels are going up the ladder. And what they are doing is they're reporting to God. See, God does not know what's going on down here. God has to be reported to by the angels. There we go. There you can see the angels there. So in the ladder, not the ladder like L-A-T-T-R, the ladder, angels are going up to report to God. They're talking to God, and God is sending the messengers back down to angels. Then angels talk to the people. That's why there's so many appearances in the Bible when it says, the angel of the Lord appeared to me. Okay? The angel of the Lord appeared to me, because that's protocol. You talk, angels see something that's going on down here. Angels report up to heaven, says to God, this is what's going on. And God says, okay, tell them this. All right. So there's two things there. First of all, it says right there in Jacob's ladder, that whole sequence, that God actually doesn't do anything. Okay. He's like an executive, a CEO. He goes, angel goes up and says, we have pestilence down there. And God goes, all right, tell them if they want to eat, they need to move out the desert and plant corn over here. And then the angel goes down and says, guys, you got to move. You can't stay here. God says there's like water coming in about 3 months up that way. By the time you get there, those who survive will get the water. And then a person says to the village, angel of the Lord spoke to me. We got to move. Okay, so that's how that works. So it says, dear God, don't know if you noticed. Okay, so by definition, God didn't notice. So now the question is, are the angels telling God that his name is in these books? Or can't they read? They may be functionally illiterate, or they don't speak English. They say when I say they, I mean scholars, biblical scholars, the language of angels is actually symbolism. And we use words in our books, not symbols. They don't read words, they read symbols and hearts and stuff like that. So God probably has no idea what's in the book. If the angels can't read, and the angels are the ones that tell God what to do or what's going on, God doesn't know what's in the book. The angels come down to say things to people. They don't know what the people wrote down. They can't read. They're functional illiterates. I'm spending a lot of time on this because this is very important. Because the question is, dear God, don't you know, or don't know if you notice about that your name is on a lot of quotes in this book. Okay? And then the next line says, us crazy humans wrote it. You should take a look. So now Andy, the prophet Andrew, is just saying, look, we wrote the book. Okay? You didn't write the book. We wrote the book, and we're a little bit crazy. We may not have gotten it right. You should send someone to check what we wrote. Okay? Because there are a lot of contradictions in here. You know, some people, look, there's one version where it says God said to Noah to take two of every animal. Then in the same chapter or the same book, it says God says take 7 of every clean animal and only 2 of every unclean animal, which is slightly different than 2 of every kind. Do the math. You wind up with a lot more animals if you're taking 7 of the clean and 2 of the unclean. Now, I don't know why God would call one of his own creations unclean. If God created it, you would think everything would be clean and be without judgment. He created it, or she, or they. So God says, please, Andrew, the prophet Andrew says, please, look what's in your book. Look, what's in that book? Now, yes, why? I don't know why he created unclean animals. And now, to be honest, maybe, and this is just a theory because I was not there. In the beginning, there were not unclean and clean animals. They were just animals because he did not know what they were going to do. You know, it's like having a child. You have a child, you name your child, you raise your child, and you don't know whether or not that child is going to be a slob or have OCD where everything is just too clean. You don't know what if your child's going to be a little scrubber or a little germ infested thing. You don't know. You have to wait to see when it grows up, what traits did it inherit and how are they going to be displayed? So maybe that's what happened. And once God saw this, he goes, whoa, those animals are clean. They lick themselves, they groom each other, they get the ticks and fleas like monkeys and the apes. They're very clean. Cockroaches are very clean for what they do. Cockroaches are very clean. I'm not eating one, but I bet you they were on the ark, and I bet you there was more than 14 of them. If there were I just can't imagine that he's going, okay, there's only room for 14 cockroaches because the cockroaches go like, look, we really don't take up much space. I think you're going to need more of us because what we do is we clean. That's our job. We clean. So he goes, okay, we'll have, all right, I'm not going to listen to God. I'm going to have, let's say, I'm going to take 7 cockroaches, but they're all going to be, I'm going to take 14 cockroaches, 7 pair, but 10 of those pair are going to be pregnant. Okay. That's my compromise. That way I won't disobey God. I still have only 7 pair, but by the time you get on that boat, those eggs hatch. We got a deal. Let's shake on it. Okay. So that's why I don't think they were clean or unclean in the beginning. He just didn't know what he was making. They didn't know what they were making. So now it continues. All the people that you made in your image, again, reminding God, this is the 3rd time they're saying this, 3 times a charm. Okay. A lot of things in the Bible happens 3 times. That 3 is a magic number. Ask Schoolhouse Rock. 3 is a magic number. Okay. That's 3 times they say this. All the people that you made in your image, reminding them each time, we are your responsibility. Okay. So it says all the people that you made in your image still believing that junk is true. And that junk is the stuff in the Bible they referred to earlier. Well, I know it ain't, and so do you. So he's still talking to God. He's still believing in God. But what he's saying is, God, look, I believe you're there, but I believe you're there, but I don't believe you're here. I believe you're there. I don't believe you're here. I don't believe you know what's in this book. I don't think you're responsible. I don't think you even know what's in this book. But other people believe it, and it's junk, and we're fighting over it, and there's wars over it. And why aren't you doing something about it? Why don't you send us a better book? Maybe a revised version. Okay. Now, again, and all of the people that you made in your image still believing that junk is true, well, I know it ain't, and so do you. Now, what part is not true? Okay. Again, is the whole book shit because he's saying you didn't write any of it? Or is he also talking about the concepts that God is a God of love and caring, that he listens, that he acts? Because that's not what the evidence shows. And we, being people of faith, are also people of evidence. We'll discuss that later if there's time. Continues, okay? Dear God, now, I can't believe in, I don't believe in, I won't believe in. Okay, three things right there. It's like the equivalent of the Holy Trinity. Okay, this mirrors the Holy Trinity of doubt. Can't believe in, I don't believe in, I won't believe in. And these are the things that he can't, don't, and won't believe in. Heaven and hell. Okay, I'm going to read it kind of like it is in there. It's pretty long section, and we'll go back to breaking down what we need to break down if we need to break it down. Okay. I won't believe in heaven and hell, no saints, no sinners, no devil as well, no pearly gates, no thorny crown. You're always letting us humans down. The wars you bring, the babes you drown, those lost at sea and never found. And it's the same the whole world round. The hurt I see helps to compound. The Father, Son, and Holy Ghost is just somebody's unholy hoax. And if you're up there and you perceive that my heart's here upon my sleeve, if there's one thing I don't believe in, it's you, dear God. Now, before I get those last two words, which are sung by the same child, Jasmine, the last two lines are, it's you, dear God. Now, it ends the way it began, in a child's voice and with the words, dear God. Now, in the beginning, she's writing a letter, and it's like, dear God. But at the end, it's like, dear God, dear God. See, same words, different meaning. And it's a child's voice because, in theory, we are all God's children. In theory. Now I'm going to back up just a tad because he says he does not believe in heaven or hell, no saints or sinners, okay? No devil as well. That pretty much in case that's like the saints, sinners, doesn't, no, I don't believe in that shit. No pearly gates, don't believe in that. No thorny crown. Well, there's only one character in the Bible that I'm aware of who wore a thorny crown. And that was supposed to be Jesus. So he says, okay, not only do I not believe in you, I don't believe in your son. Or maybe I don't believe that he suffered, because that's what the thorny crown is. The thorny crown is symbolic of the suffering. So I don't believe he suffered. Not for me. Nope. And guess what? You made us in your image and you keep letting us down. You know, now he's blaming God directly for the wars you bring. Saying here, the wars you bring, the babes you drown. Okay. Now, let's go back to the question he asked earlier. Did you make us after we made you? And if we made God, We are the ones bringing the wars. We are the ones bringing the babes, drowning the babes. So we are the ones that have to stop it, not God. So, but we've already seen, according to Jacob, that God is not the one who does the acting. Okay. Now, you say, well, what about the great floods? We'll talk about that later. But it's not that, and technically, God may not have brought those floods. I'm just saying. Let's say God saw the flood was coming and couldn't stop it. It's like, oh shit, there's a flood, but I really can't stop it. Angels, go down and tell those people that I'm going to destroy the world because they're bad. They're so bad. Some of you are going to survive, and the ones that survive are good. And to be honest, I don't know which ones are going to survive because I don't know which ones can swim. Um, I, I'm assuming that the black ones can swim, but I don't know. We never tested it. We're about to find out. So it's possible, that he saw it coming and just warned people. That's what the angels do. The flood's coming. So go down and talk to Noah. I can't stop the flood. Get prepared. Get ready. It's coming. He probably said the same thing to the dinosaurs. Dinosaurs, look, there's a meteor coming. I can't stop it. I don't know how to stop it. But if I were you, I would start preparing for a lot of ash and a lot of darkness and maybe some very cold days. Um, some of you bigger animals, you may want to scale down. Um, we'll see what happens. We'll see who survives. So those lost at sea and never found. Okay. And it's the same the whole world round. Okay. It doesn't matter what religion you are in the whole world. Doesn't matter if you're Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Zoroastrian, Baha'i faith. Doesn't matter. We're all suffering. Buddhists, we're all suffering. It's the same all over the world. We're all suffering. Why aren't you doing something? Okay. So with all of that, and the prophet Andrew says, look, God, my heart's here upon my sleeve. I'm not hiding anything from you. I'm telling you what I'm thinking. And you're losing me. You're losing me. I'm losing my faith. You're losing me. And it's not just me, because there was a kid that wrote a letter earlier. You're going to lose that kid too. So that's at least two of us. And according to the Hollywood rules, if you receive two letters, okay, you got one letter and one complaint, that represents 10,000. This is at least 20,000. Okay. At least 20,000 complaining. And if you accept those 20,000, then there's probably 10,000 for each of those 20,000 at any rate. There's a lot of complaining down here. Why haven't you done something? I can't believe it. It's you, dear God. Mm-mm-mm. Like I said, it ends with a child's voice.